This is the WGNS Action Line, talking with Rutherford County newsmakers about what matters most to you.
Your host, J. Paul Newman of the monthly District Attorney Show.
The viewpoints and opinions expressed on this broadcast are the viewpoints and opinions of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints and opinions of this show, its host, or the management of this station. You are listening to WGNS. We welcome everyone to the program. My name is J. Paul Newman. My co-hosts today are Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. We thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we also thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We will begin our broadcast after you listen to these important messages.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
This message brought to you by the Central Tennessee Regional Solid Waste Planning Board. Visit RecycleRightTN.com for tips, ideas, and locations on where to recycle near you.
Don't be trashy, recycle classy, recycle right, Tennessee.
Recycling isn't just about tossing materials in a bin, it's about knowing which materials are accepted. Go to RecycleRightTN.com.
Recycle right, Tennessee.
We welcome everyone to the program. My name is J. Paul Newman. We will highlight the important role of our 911 dispatchers. 911 dispatchers are the lifeline that links us all to our emergency responders. To help bring their role into even clearer focus, I will play 3 Rutherford County 911 calls. You will hear firsthand the dedication and professionalism of our 911 dispatchers. But the quality that will stand out the most is their ability to remain focused despite the overwhelming pressure.
From call to conviction, time now for a look back at one of the more intriguing and important cases for this community. From the crime, the investigation, to the prosecution.
The Rutherford County District Attorney Show. Retired Assistant District Attorney J. Paul Newman takes you on a judicial journey through our court system, where we'll learn about cold cases, current court cases, grand jury indictments, and more. Here's host J. Paul Newman.
From August of 1995 until September of 2020, I was an Assistant District Attorney for the 16th Judicial District of Tennessee. During that 25-year period, I tried many cases. Most of my trials were cases involving murder. During that 25-year period, I never failed to obtain a conviction. I say that with great humility because I recognize that my trial record was not mine alone. I tried very few cases alone. It was a true team effort, and I always had the support of professional and dedicated law enforcement officers. It was law enforcement officers and other witnesses who provided me with the facts. My job was to simply present those facts to a jury in an effective, professional, and persuasive manner. I followed many maxims when I tried a case. One of the most important maxims was, make the crime real to the jury. A valuable tool that I often used to make the crime real was the 911 call. On today's broadcast, I will play 3 911 calls for you. I have chosen these 3 because they clearly demonstrate how the 911 call helps to make the crime real. Before we play an edited version of the 911 tapes, a word of caution. Some may find the tapes uncomfortable or even upsetting. The tapes contain violence. The tapes contain extreme human emotion. We recommend that the tapes should not be heard by children or anyone who might be emotionally distressed by their content. Listener discretion is advised.
Retired Assistant District Attorney J. Paul Newman.
This is the background for the 911 call you will hear in just a few minutes. Our location is the 6800 block of Burks Hollow Road in the farmland community of Rutherford County, Tennessee. It is the home of Kevin Barrett. The date is July the 25th, 2011. Regina Flowers, who was Kevin Barrett's girlfriend, had just arrived at Barrett's home. Kevin Barrett was not inside the home. He was working in the fields, and there were two men who were hiding in the woods. Regina Flowers was only there a short time when the door suddenly flew open, and two men, wearing black hoods over their faces, rushed inside. The men were armed with a rifle. They struggled with Regina Flowers. She was thrown to the floor, kicked and choked. Her hands and feet were tied. She was bleeding from the head. When she began to cry, they put tape over her mouth. The two men did not leave. They were waiting for Kevin Barrett to return home. Regina Flowers had been held for over an hour when Kevin Barrett did return. As Kevin Barrett opened the kitchen door, one of the two men fired a shot that struck Kevin Barrett in the hand. Kevin Barrett tries to get away. As he is running outside, a second shot is fired, striking Kevin Barrett in the shoulder. He falls in the driveway. A third shot is fired, this one to the head of Kevin Barrett. The two men then decide it is time to flee. They steal Kevin Barrett's Chevy Silverado and Regina Flowers' Dodge Durango. Regina Flowers quickly unties herself and goes outside. There, she finds the lifeless body of 45-year-old Kevin Barrett. Regina Flowers calls 911. After an intensive investigation, based largely on information initially provided by Flowers on the 911 call, 21-year-old Aaron Walker and 20-year-old John Lamondola are arrested for the brutal and the horrific murder of Kevin Barrett. At the preliminary hearing, I played the 911 call for the court. And now you're about to hear that call yourself. Before we play the call, a word of warning. Some listeners may find the call disturbing. Listener discretion is advised.
911 emergency.
Oh, the 6811, Burton Hollow Road. He's been robbed before, and the police came, and these guys, they were just, and they shot him. He's dead.
All right, ma'am. What road are you on?
His address is 6811 Burton Hollow Road.
Burks Hollow Road?
He's dead. He's dead.
Okay, ma'am. Are you on the Rutherford County side of Burks Hollow?
Yes. Oh, my God.
Okay, what is your name?
Okay, Regina Flowers. They took my Durango. It's a red Durango. They took his 2000. They took his 2000 Chevrolet 1500 silver. Oh my God, he's dead.
On July the 3rd, 2013, Aaron Walker and John Lamondola were indicted by the Rutherford County Grand Jury for the murder and robbery of Kevin Barrett and the kidnapping and robbery of Regina Flowers. On October the 24th, 2014, John Lamondola entered his pleas of guilty to the following charges. On the charge of conspiracy, Lamondola received a 6-year sentence, and on the charge of especially aggravated kidnapping, Lamondola received a 20-year sentence. On July the 30th, 2014, in the courtroom of Judge David Bragg, Aaron Walker entered 4 pleas of guilty. He pled guilty to conspiracy and received a 3-year sentence. He also pled guilty to aggravated robbery and especially aggravated kidnapping. Walker was sentenced to 15 years for each of those crimes, and Walker pled guilty to the first-degree murder of Kevin Barrett, and he was sentenced to life in prison. Information obtained from the 911 call provided the leads that enabled the quick arrest and certain conviction of the 2 suspects. And throughout the criminal justice process, the 911 tape made everyone experience the horror of the 2 victims and to feel the cold, vicious, and brutal acts of terror committed by the 2 defendants. And the 911 recording, wherever it was heard, made the crime real for all of us. Our next 911 recording comes from the 2008 O'Charley's robbery and the murder of Nader Bomanziari, the night of February the 2nd, 2008. The O'Charley's restaurant on Memorial Boulevard in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, was robbed. The O'Charley's manager, Nader Bomanziari, was shot and killed. During the robbery and before he died, Nader Bomanziari was able to call 911. Mr. Bomanziari had locked himself in the office. On the 911 tape, you will hear the robber yelling, "Open the door!" And you will hear the robber trying to kick the door open. You will also hear the robber shooting twice. One of those shots killed Nader Bomanziari. Antonio Alexander was soon developed as a suspect, and within days, Antonio Alexander was charged with the robbery of the O'Charley's restaurant and the murder of Nader Bomanziari. During Antonio Alexander's trial, I played the 911 tape for the jury. In just a moment, I will play the tape for you. The tape is violent and emotional. Listener discretion is advised.
Somebody out there.
911 emergency. Hello? Get somebody out to 1006 Memorial Boulevard, O'Charley's. He said, open the door, open the door. I don't know what it is.
Get over here. Get this one. Pick it up.
On July 26, 2010, Antonio Alexander was convicted by a Rutherford County jury of attempted aggravated robbery, especially aggravated kidnapping, second-degree murder, first-degree felony murder, especially aggravated robbery, and reckless endangerment. The jury sentenced Antonio Alexander to life without the possibility of parole for the murder of Nader Bomanziari. And the Honorable Judge, Don Ash, sentenced Antonio Alexander to a consecutive 90-year sentence for the remaining counts. Under this sentence, Antonio Alexander will spend the rest of his life in prison. The 911 tape made the crime real for the jury and played a prominent and decisive role in the conviction of Antonio Alexander. Our final 911 call is one that truly makes the crime real. The call comes from the 2011 murder of Kim Coleman. But first, I will provide you with the following background information. All of the events that you are about to hear occurred at a home located in the 400 block of Tuffnail Drive in Laverne, Tennessee. It is the late afternoon of August the 7th, 2011. The home is the residence of Kimberly Burke. Present at the home was Kimberly Burke and her best friend, Kim Coleman. Kim Coleman was there because Miss Burke had called her, and she told her that she feared her ex-husband, Kenny Thomason, would violate Burke's order of protection and come to her home that night. Later that evening, and without warning, Kenny Thomason appears at Kim Burke's home. As he is approaching the front porch steps, Kim Coleman sees Kenny Thomason. She acts quickly. She tells Kimberly Burke to stay inside the house, and Kim Coleman takes a stand on the front porch to keep Kenny Thomason outside and away from Kimberly Burke. Kim Coleman also grabbed her phone and calls the police. The 911 call was recorded. At the trial of the state of Tennessee versus Kenny Thomason, I played the 911 recording for the jury. When listening to the tape, the jury heard Kenny Thomason as he approached the front door. The jury heard Kim Coleman telling Kimberly Burke to stay inside the home. The jury heard Kim Coleman tell Kenny Thomason that he was not getting inside the house and that she had 911 on the phone and that the police would know if he hurt her. Sadly, the last thing the jury heard were the screams of Kim Coleman as she was being stabbed to death by Kenny Thomason. What you are about to hear is the tape recording of Kim Coleman's 911 call to the police. Please be warned, this is a recording of a violent murder. Listener discretion is advised.
911, location of your emergency?
Yeah, 1420 Tuffnail.
1420 Tuffnail?
Yeah,
What's going on, ma'am?
An ex-husband is here who is...
Is he outside? Is he outside?
Yeah, right here.
Okay, so is he in the house?
No.
Okay, he is outside? Hold on just a minute. Stay on the line with me. Okay, ma'am, I've got an officer en route. Where exactly outside is he right now?
Right outside.
Pardon me?
Right outside.
Right outside. Does he know you're calling, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he armed or do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Is he on the front porch?
Pretty much.
Okay, you can't talk, can you?
Not really.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Thing I've ever done in my life.
I understand. And he is standing outside. Is he going to be on the porch area?
Yeah.
Front porch? Okay.
Yeah. I can't believe you have done this to your life, Kenny. I am so disappointed. My son is crying at home because I had to come out here to help him today because he is so upset with you and worried about him. You haven't done anything, Kenny? You have cheated on her. You have lied. And that is nothing. If you would have come clean and told her the truth, this would have all been over and done with. Okay, well, half your life is a lie, and you just need to go. Kim, go inside. Go inside.
I'm just going to listen, ma'am. I'm not going to put you in a position where you have to answer any questions at all.
Yeah.
But just leave the line open where I can hear.
Okay. He's right here. I left my children and my husband to come out here and take care of because of what I did. You came back here.
What did I do?
Oh, you've done a lot, and I don't want to talk to you. Go.
I'm trying to.
No, you too late, too little, too late. Kenny, I'm not even wasting another breath on you. She ain't your baby girl no more. She's divorced. No, She ain't your baby girl? No, you lied and lied and lied to her for how many years? Oh, you don't even know what the truth is. Obviously, I don't know you at all. Because you've lied for ever since the day you met her.
No, I had not.
You're lying right now. Keep it going. Keep it talking. You are not getting in this house. And if you get in this house, 911 is on the phone, and they're going to know that you hurt me. Ow! Ow! Ow!
In June of 2012, the Rutherford County Grand Jury indicted Kenny Thomason for the murder of Kim Coleman. The case was assigned to the court of Judge David Bragg. Kenny Thomason was represented by Rutherford County Assistant Public Defenders Sean Williams and Jeff Burton. The prosecution team consisted of District Attorney General William C. Weitzel, Jr., and Assistant District Attorney J. Paul Newman. The trial began on May the 20th, 2013. After 3 days of listening to witnesses, the jury began their deliberations. On May the 23rd, 2013, after less than 2 hours of deliberation, the jury returned with their verdict. The jury found Kenny Thomason guilty of the first-degree murder of Kim Coleman. Their verdict carried with it an automatic sentence of life in prison. Kenny Thomason is now serving that sentence in the Tennessee Department of Corrections. As we close this segment, I pay tribute to Kevin Barrett, Nader Bamanziari, and Kim Coleman. They will forever remain in our memory. And I want to thank those 911 dispatchers whose professionalism and expert training, coupled with their inborn sense of caring and decency, help to make these crimes real to all of us.
Hi, this is Dan with Music World and Drummer's Den. Our prices are as good or better than the box stores. I don't think you'll do better by shopping online than you would by coming in. Being able to hold a guitar, try it out. You can't do that online. I am absolutely sure we have more selection of instruments than anybody else in the area. New and used. We have used instruments as well as new ones. Music World and Drummer's Den, 2762 South Church Street, right across from the golf course. Thank you very much for being our customers.
This is Peter Demas. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant. A lot of times when you get steamed vegetables such as broccoli or cauliflower, it's either soggy. One of the things that we wanted to do was make certain that it was still soft, but still had a little bit of a crunch to it. And so we worked on the procedure of how to cook that. And then all of our vegetables are seasoned with our seasoned salt. We keep that seasoned salt at home, and I can tell you almost all the vegetables I cook at home have the seasoned salt on it. Come eat with us at Demas's restaurant on Northwest Broad Street.
The Rutherford County District Attorney's Show, featured on the Action Line the first Friday of each month.
This is Paul Newman. This broadcast often asks for the community's help in solving cold case homicides. It is my belief that the law enforcement agencies that deserve special recognition for citizen service are those agencies that address the need for cold case homicide investigation units. Our community was blessed to have a community leader who distinguished himself in this area. That leader is former Rutherford County Sheriff Truman Jones. Under Truman Jones's leadership, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office established the first cold case investigation unit in Rutherford County. It is a unit which had remarkable success and sent a clear message that unsolved murder cases are never closed, for there is no expiration date on a murder case. It also sent the message that a murder victim's family should never feel abandoned, because law enforcement never forgets an unsolved murder or its victim. And the final message is that people who commit murder should always know that law enforcement may be coming at any time to hold them accountable for taking a human life.
Every homicide, every rape, every robbery affects the entire community. People who are victims of these crimes need closure. The people who committed these crimes must be held accountable. Law enforcement needs the community's help in seeking justice. Please listen as we review an unsolved mystery in this month's Cold Case Profile.
On today's Cold Case Profile, we will be asking for your help in solving a brutal murder. The date was May the 17th, 2020, and the time was approximately 5 a.m. when the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a duplex in the 700 block of East Northfield Boulevard. Upon their arrival, the police discovered the lifeless body of 45-year-old Thomas Holland. The body is laying on the duplex driveway. Thomas Holland had been shot several times. Murfreesboro Police Detective Cody Thomas was assigned as the lead investigator on the case. As part of the investigation, an autopsy was conducted, and it was determined that Thomas Holland had been drinking prior to the shooting. Detectives also believed that there may have been an altercation that led up to Thomas Holland's death. Early in the investigation, the Murfreesboro Police Department did develop one person as a possible suspect. However, later investigators were able to exclude that person as not being responsible for the death of Thomas Holland. The Murfreesboro Police Department continues their investigation, but as of today, no one has been arrested for this brutal crime. Thomas Holland lived in Murfreesboro, and he had been a volunteer at the Greenhouse Ministries. We ask that you please join law enforcement and Thomas Holland's family in seeking justice for Thomas Holland. If you have any information regarding the murder of 45-year-old Thomas Holland, please contact the Murfreesboro Police Department. The number to call is 615-893-2717. That number again is 615-893-2717. Or you can email your information to crimetips@murfreesborotn.gov. That email address again is crimetips@murfreesborotn.gov. And if you wish to remain anonymous, you can provide your confidential information through Crime Stoppers. If your information leads to an arrest and a conviction in this case, you may be eligible to receive up to $1,000. The number to call is 615-893-7867. That number again is 615-893-7867. Please help us bring closure to those who knew and loved Thomas Holland, and help us to bring justice to whoever caused his death.
Retired Assistant District Attorney J. Paul Newman.
And this has been today's Cold Case Profile.
Local farmers at the Winter Spring Rutherford County Farmers Market. Local meats, vegetables, and other produce. Every Friday, 8 to noon at the Lane Agri Park in Murfreesboro.
Frosted bloom the seas and sing. We're winter tough and welcoming spring. So bundle up and make your way every Friday at Lane Agri Park.
On John R. Rice Boulevard.
Looking for great deals on name brand clothing, furniture, and more? Visit the Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street across from the tall downtown NHC building in Murfreesboro. Our competitive prices and quality selection make it easy to find exactly what you need. And here's the best part, 100% of your purchase supports Greenhouse Ministries, helping over 70 families a day. When you shop at the Garden Patch, you're not just getting a deal, you're making a difference. The Garden Patch Thrift Shop on Spring Street in Murfreesboro.
This is Inside the Courts. A look at this month's trials, pleas, and grand jury action. Inside the Courts is presented as a courtesy of the Rutherford County Clerk's Office.
Here is Rutherford County District Attorney Jennings Jones. Good morning, everyone. This is your District Attorney General, Jennings Jones, and today I will be your tour guide through this episode of Inside the Courts. Before we begin this segment, we would like to take a moment to share with you the loss of someone special to our office, Miss Peggy Jo Smith. Peggy started at the office as a secretary, and then after a year in that position, she served as the 16th Judicial District's first victim witness coordinator, a position she held for the next 23 years. Peggy passed away earlier this year on January 25th. She was the beloved wife of Lee Smith, who preceded her in death. They were married for 59 years and shared 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 3 great-grandchildren. Peggy was a key figure in the office, responsible for communicating with the victims of crimes as well as with witnesses needed for the prosecution of all criminal cases. As a young prosecutor coming into the office in 1998, Peggy taught me the importance and art of consulting with victims of crime, and to remember that what was a job for me could potentially be the most devastating, scary, or confusing events for others. Peggy brightened the office with her quick wit, kind words of encouragement, and her love of the community. She was truly loved and will be missed by many. Thank you for your service, Miss Peggy, and with Lee at your side, may you both rest in peace with our Heavenly Father. Now, we begin this segment by stating that none of the defendants named in any upcoming trials have been convicted, and they are presumed by our law to be innocent. With that as a prelude, we will now go inside the courts. On October 13th of last year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a 911 call for shots fired at a residence on Las Casas Pike in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Upon arrival, officers discovered Miss Jaleel Turner lying unresponsive on the floor of his apartment, suffering from a gunshot wound to the abdomen. Mr. Turner later died from his injuries. Detective William Pullius was assigned as lead investigator, and Miss Shakira Brown has been charged with second-degree murder. Miss Brown is represented by counsel Mr. Brent Horst, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch. This matter is next scheduled for appearance in the General Sessions Court on February 17th of this year. On October 27th of last year, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to an emergency assist where a man identified as Mr. Harold Cruz had sustained injuries to the head. At the conclusion of the investigation, Mr. Clinton Johnson was charged with first-degree murder. On January 24th of last year, Mr. Johnson appeared before the General Sessions Courts of Rutherford County and bound his case over for presentation to a grand jury. In August of last year, the grand jury indicted Mr. Johnson for first-degree murder and aggravated robbery. His next appearance is scheduled for February the 19th of this year. Mr. Johnson is represented by Mr. Drew Perkins, while the state is represented by Assistant District Attorney Matt Westmoreland. On February the 18th of 2024, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a 911 call regarding DeMarcus McClinton breaking into the residence of his ex-girlfriend, Tashaw Edwards, and her infant child. Mr. McClinton kicked in the door of the apartment and physically assaulted Miss Edwards and her child. 911 was called immediately by others, and officers responded quickly. Officer Marie Hustles charged Mr. McClinton with aggravated burglary, aggravated assault, domestic assault, and child abuse. A preliminary hearing was held on March 19th of 2024, and the matter was bound over to the grand jury. On May 22nd of last year, a jury trial began, and on May 23rd of last year, a jury of his peers convicted Mr. McClinton of all charges. A sentencing hearing was held on August the 19th of last year, and Judge Jimmy Turner sentenced the defendant to a total effective sentence of 26 years, 11 months, and 29 days to be served in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Ben Wetzel, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Dana Miner. On January the 15th of 2023, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to an apartment on Cobalt Row regarding a shooting that occurred during the early morning hours. It was reported that 2 victims had been at the apartment, and when they left, they were followed by the defendant, who drove alongside and then behind them. Around the intersection of South Rutherford Boulevard and MLK Jr. Boulevard, the defendant began to fire into the car at the victims. Bullets struck the rear passenger door, the headrest, and then the front passenger seat, the front windshield, and the driver's window. The shooting was witnessed by a deputy with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office who was coincidentally stopped at the intersection. The deputy pursued the defendant into the county and back into Murfreesboro, where the deputy was required to terminate pursuit for safety reasons. Shortly thereafter, the defendant wrecked his vehicle and was arrested by the Murfreesboro Police Department. A preliminary hearing was held on April 23rd of 2024, and the court bound the matter over to the grand jury. On July 14th of last year, a jury trial was held, and on July 17th, a jury of his peers found Mr. Robertson guilty of 2 counts of attempted second-degree murder and 1 count of aggravated assault. A sentencing hearing was held on September 24th of last year, and the defendant received a total sentence of 18 years to serve in the custody of the Tennessee Department of Corrections. The defendant was represented by counsel Miss Amanda Gentry, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorneys Tammy Reddig and Sarah Davis. On December of 2022, Detective Benjamin Segrera with the Murfreesboro Police Department opened an investigation on Mr. Anthony Caldwell regarding allegations of sexual abuse of a minor. The investigation revealed that between February of 2021 and December of 2022, a 12-year-old victim and her 11-year-old sibling were living with their maternal aunt and her husband, Anthony Drew Caldwell. Initially, they lived in Smithville, Tennessee, where the abuse started. They soon moved to Murfreesboro, where the abuse continued and progressed. There were thousands of text messages recovered from the victim's phone between her and the defendant. Maternal grandmother became suspicious of grooming behavior and filed a court order to get visitation with the victim and her sister. During the second visit to Grandma's house, she devised a plan to look in the victim's phone. She watched the victim put her passcode in and remembered it. Then she had her husband take the girls out on the boat for the day and made the victim leave the phone so that it wouldn't get wet. During that time, the grandmother was able to open the phone and look at the text messages between the defendant and her granddaughter. She took pictures of the texts and called the Murfreesboro Police Department to report it. She then drove the girls directly to the police department and turned over the phone. The defendant was interviewed and denied anything sexual and stated he was only joking with his niece, who he viewed as a best friend. Messages and facts from a forensic interview of the victim were presented to the Rutherford County Grand Jury, and in March of 2023, a grand jury indicted Mr. Caldwell for 3 counts of rape of a child, 2 counts aggravated sexual battery, 2 counts of especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, and a count of continuous sexual abuse of a child. In October of this year, a jury of his peers convicted Mr. Caldwell as charged on all counts of the indictment. A sentencing hearing is scheduled for March 5th of this year. The defendant was represented at trial by counsel Mr. David Clark, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Hugh Ammerman. On January 9th of 2023, Detective James Wilkinson with the Murfreesboro Police Department was assigned to investigate allegations of child abuse by Mr. Trevosia Miller. Mr. Miller struck his minor child in the legs approximately 15 times with a belt because the 5-year-old child had defecated on the floor. This act left severe welts and bruising on the child. In March of 2023, a Rutherford County grand jury indicted Mr. Miller for aggravated child abuse under the age of 8. On October 31st of last year, Trevosia Miller pled guilty to attempted aggravated abuse of a child under the age of 8, and a sentencing hearing was held on February 6th of this year. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Daniel Murphy, and the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Hugh Ammerman. In March of 2023, Detective Jesse Gamble with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office was assigned to investigate allegations of child abuse resulting in death. On March 8th of 2023, a 3-month-old child was transported to the hospital where emergency personnel were unable to resuscitate the child, and the child was then pronounced dead at the hospital. An interview of the child's grandmother, Cheryl Bodley, resulted in several conflicting stories being provided by the grandmother, ranging from the child choked while she was bottle feeding, to that the child was asleep in the bed next to her while she played with her phone and then fell asleep herself, with Miss Bodley waking up to the child not breathing and being cold to the touch. The bed Miss Bodley was referring to was cluttered with blankets and pillows, and a pacifier was found under the blankets. A drug screen of Miss Bodley was positive for Suboxone. An autopsy of the infant revealed that the baby died from acute methamphetamine intoxication. A search warrant executed on Miss Bodley's phone showed that Miss Bodley was actively involved in drug transactions, including the sale of methamphetamine. In August of 2023, Miss Bodley was indicted for first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse for a child under the age of 8. On October 3rd of last year, Miss Bodley pled guilty to reckless homicide and aggravated child abuse under the age of 8, receiving a 12-year sentence to serve in TDOC custody. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Darren Drake, while the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Sharon Reddick. On December 20th, 2021, officers with the Murfreesboro Police Department responded to a domestic disturbance call in a parking lot. Officers made contact with the complainant and a witness that stated that Mr. Trevor Anderson confronted and threatened the complainant with a firearm. Officers were in the area and responded quickly when a 911 call was made. Upon arrival, they observed Mr. Anderson at the vehicle and then watched him quickly walk away. Officers were able to locate Mr. Anderson and also recovered a firearm from the vehicle. Mr. Anderson had dropped the firearm in the vehicle when he saw the officers approach. In July of 2022, a Rutherford County grand jury indicted Mr. Anderson for possession of a handgun by a convicted felon. And on April the 14th of 2025, a jury of his peers convicted Trevor Anderson as charged. Mr. Anderson was sentenced on January the 15th of this year and faced a range of punishment from between 12 and 20 years in TDOC custody. The defendant was represented by counsel Mr. Darren Drake, and the state was represented by Assistant District Attorney Allison Abbott.
With today's Inside the Courts, District Attorney Jennings Jones.
That will conclude our episode of Inside the Courts.
This is Bud Rakes, former principal of Smyrna High School. I'm a resident of Adams Place, and I recommend that you come and visit us here at Adams Place. It's a great place to be. I've enjoyed here and spending my time. I just don't think you could beat it for a place to spend time and be thankful that the Lord's allowed me to be here that long. And, of course, I would encourage anyone, if they're looking for a place, to look at Adams Place, because they'll have a hard time beating it.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Use caulk or weather stripping to seal leaks around your windows. Stopping drafts is one of the quickest ways to lower your winter bill. Get more ideas at mte.com/myenergyplan. The monthly District Attorney Show, heard exclusively on News Radio WGNS the first Friday of each month.
If you missed any part of this program, it will be available shortly as a podcast on the WGNS website. As we end our program today, we thank WGNS for providing the airtime. And we thank our producer, Scott Walker. Most of all, we thank you for listening. We leave now by saying, a safe community is the responsibility of each and every one of us. For my two co-hosts, Rutherford County District Attorney General Jennings Jones and Rutherford County Assistant District Attorney Trevor Lynch, this is J. Paul Newman, bidding all of you a safe and blessed day.
The District Attorney's Office thanks you for listening to today's program. If you have any information regarding criminal activity in our community, please contact one of our law enforcement agencies. The information presented on today's show is solely for informational benefit and not intended to be legal advice. You should always consult an attorney whenever you need or rely on legal advice. Rutherford County's most trusted name in news. Talk Radio WGNS, Murfreesboro.